Welcome to the Flip Tech East Coast podcast, a podcast designed to introduce you to our teacher presenters. This year's conference is being hosted by Collingswood High School in Collingswood, New Jersey, and is being held on June 29th and 30th. And in this episode of the podcast, we bring you Carolina Buitrago. She's a session speaker, and she's going to be speaking about crafting autonomous learners with Hyperdocs and Flipped Learning. Carolina joins us all the way from Colombia. If you are interested in hearing Carolina or any of our teacher presenters speak at Flip Tech, please visit fliptech.flipplearning.org to register. Again, that's fliptech.flipplearning.org. And we pick it up now with Carolina. Everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Flip Tech East Coast podcast. And today we have Carolina Buitrago, who is a Colombian. She's a teacher of pre-service teachers in Colombia. And she's going to be giving a session on crafting autonomous learners with Hyperdocs and Flipped Learning. Boy, that's a mouthful, Carolina. How are you?
Good, Dave. How are you?
I'm hanging in. So for the audience out there, just so everybody knows, you're actually part of 3 presentations, but this particular presentation you're giving on your own. Yeah. So you're here. So tell us about yourself. Who are you? What do you do?
Well, I'm Carolina Rodriguez Buitrago. I am a pre-service teacher trainer in Bogota, Colombia. I've worked in teacher training and teacher education for, more than 10 years, I guess now. I discovered that passion for teaching teachers, and so I decided to just stick to it. I really like to innovate, and so I think that by teaching pre-service teachers and in-service teachers, I can extend my reach a little bit. I don't know if that sounds right, but that's kind of my purpose.
I know what you mean. Yeah, you need to, you want to pass your passion along to other teachers, and that's super important.
Yeah, that's what I try to do on a daily basis. I have a lot of stamina. People think it's other kinds of substances, but it's not. It's just my stamina. That's
the way I am. I'm always I always act so crazy out in the hallways with my students. I high-fiving and going crazy and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So you flip all your classes and all of this stuff, right?
Yeah, I've been flipping since 2014, I guess, 13. And I flipped everything that I have gotten my hands on. So I flipped online learning, blended learning, face-to-face learning. I flipped English courses, content courses. I've even helped other colleagues flip. I've done in-class flip, which is another thing that I'm doing with Martha, my colleague in there in Flip Tech. We do, everything. Since I discovered flipped learning, I forgot the old me,
It's funny because that's something that flipping does for a lot of people, is it kind of reinvigorates their career. They're they're like, oh, this is so awesome now. Yeah. And so let's talk a little bit about you, and have you presented before? I seem to remember that from one of your previous interviews that you're kind of old hat at this presentation thing.
Yeah, well, actually, I was an academic consultant for Cambridge University Press Columbia for some time, and so that took me to some places to present in Colombia, around the country. And I have done a couple presentations internationally. I've presented twice at TESOL, the TESOL conference, which is the Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages conference. It is held in the United States, and I've been there a couple times. And but mostly Colombian events. And I went once to Ecuador. That was actually one of the first ones I did.
Oh, wow, Ecuador. Yeah. I'm jealous. I would love to go to Ecuador.
Oh, yeah, it's good. Yeah.
So what makes you want to keep presenting? What's the drive behind having presented all over the place and still want to keep doing it?
Yeah, well, actually, that connects a lot to flipped learning, and it connects a lot to that idea of becoming a professional educator and how we do things that for us might seem silly or just normal, but they might be interesting for other people. And so going to conferences and going to present has opened that opportunity for me to share what I do, but also to get a lot from others. And so I think teaching doesn't have to be a lonely profession. We need to share. We all have the same struggles, the same challenges, the same problems. It doesn't matter if you're here in Peru or in the United States. And so why just keep them to ourselves, locked in our hearts and doors? No, I think we should just share them, and that helps us see a path, towards discovery.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's it's same problems, different places. It doesn't matter. Kids are kids, and adults are adults, and teaching is teaching. So, yeah, I like the way that you said that. Well, let's talk about the nuts and bolts of this. You're going to give a presentation, Crafting Autonomous Learners, with Hyperdocs and Flipped Learning. So, describe this presentation for our viewers.
Well, I just want to share my experience about something that happened to me, and I tried and failed miserably and openly to implement Mastery Flipped Learning last semester. It was so horrible. Like, I made every possible mistake in the world. I actually did a blog post about that. It was just so bad. I felt so bad with myself. It was just everything went wrong. And so I thought, well, I have to make some changes. And so I decided to start looking for ways to provide that mastery that I wanted. And I came across Hyperdocs. I was like, oh my goodness, I finally found what I wanted. So I started creating my Hyperdocs as a way to provide my students with the content that they could access at their own pace. And so I discovered not only that Hyperdocs are an amazing learning tool, but that they also help me with the mastery and help me turn my students into autonomous learners. The level of metacognition my students have reached at this point is great. I am really satisfied. They talk about the Hyperdocs as a learning tool and how they are as learners and how far they have gotten with their grammar, because I flipped the grammar component in my EFL course. And so it's basically when we start flipping is this mindset, that just possesses us to look for new things, innovate, try to find solutions. And this Hyperdocs idea is just so logically connected to all the principles of flipped learning that I just want to make the case. I know there is another person, Susan White, who has been working on it. She has been flipping with Hyperdocs, and I have been following her work as well. But anyway, I think she does it in math. So I think it's all enriching, if we do it across the fields and if we hear each other's stories. So basically that's what I want to do, share and show all of the things that I have been able to advance with the combination of these three things.
That's interesting because in my own personal classroom, I don't use Hyperdocs, but I use Google Drawings, and I make everything on a mind map. If I get a chance, I'm going to jump into your session and see how you do
awesome.
it. Yeah, because I love seeing new takes or takes that I'm not familiar with on this sort of Hyperdoc, Google Doc sort of thing. So in terms of the people who are going to come to your presentation, who do you think is going to get the most out of seeing you present?
Well, basically, anyone who has flipped for some time and is ready for a change, is ready to get again, all excited and all full of work. That's what we do. We really love it. We really like it. So if you really are, I already mastered the flip, I already got it. I know. I do my own videos. I create my own group learning space activities that are awesome. Okay, come.
Right.
Come, because then now I'm spending a lot of time planning. I'm spending a lot of time checking students' work, but it's so great. So it's great again. It's like 2014 all over again. So it's awesome.
Right. Okay, that's cool. So it seems like you have a broad reach here. You're gonna reach out and try to help just about anybody.
Yeah, and you know what? There's something really cool, and it's the ladies. Their names escape me right now. I think it's Hillary something and Sarah Landis and Lisa Highfield, the ladies who wrote the book for Hyperdocs. I got in touch with them, told them that I was doing this in Colombia, and they sent me out a whole bunch of resources to share with teachers. Wow. So I'll be taking those folders to share, with templates and lots of great things that teachers can use in their own classrooms.
That's really awesome.
It is.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
So the other part of coming to a conference isn't just presenting, but it's also attending. And so you're going to be an attendee. I mean, you're going to be presenting a lot. You're the only person that has multiple presentations, so that's good. But
such an honor.
Yeah. But you're going to have time to do stuff and see what you see other things. And so, what do you hope to get from attending the conference, from just being here, being a presenter or being an attendee?
Yeah, there's something, and that's the dream basically for me, and it is to get connected with all these flippers around the world. Because my at the beginning it was just, I'm the lone wolf, I'm the crazy person doing this. But then you discover that there are a lot of crazy people around the globe doing the same things. It's just so great to meet them. I would love to talk to people doing differentiation through flipping, because that's another of my interests. I am a bit of a groupie, as I said in another interview, so I cannot wait to meet Aaron Sams.
And he's super down to earth. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. He just,
oh my God, I can't wait.
He's just really super nice.
Yeah, I just can't wait. It's so awesome. This is a great opportunity.
Yeah. So you already know what's coming, but I had to get a new question. Yeah. So is it okay if I ask you a question that I didn't send to you previous to this?
Yes, of course. Bring it on.
Okay, good. So if you could go back in time to, before you started flipping, it doesn't matter if it was, 6 years ago or 10 years ago, whatever, but, if you could go back to a time before you started flipping and give yourself advice, what advice would you give yourself?
Okay. About flipping? Like I'm about to start the whole flipping situation? Or
about anything.
Oh my God.
About teaching, about your job, whether it's flipped related or not flipped related, just what advice would you give yourself?
Never say no.
Never say no.
Never say no. Always say yes. I mean, all these great opportunities have come to me because someone just brought something crazy up and I said yes to it. So yeah, basically that's going to be my advice for my past self and for any teacher listening to this. Never say no. I know it's a lot. It sounds crazy, and a lot of coaches for self-help coaches will tell you not to do that. But it's one of the ways to get great learning opportunities by saying yes to something new and challenging and scary.
It provides a lot of growth for you too, like it forces you outside of your own little comfort zone and things like that too. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, it was definitely a pleasure to talk to you, Carolina. I enjoyed talking to you. Yeah. So, I guess that concludes this interview with Carolina Buitrago, who is going to be speaking at Flip Tech East Coast on crafting autonomous learners with Hyperdocs and Flipped Learning. And we can't wait to see you there.
All right. I can't wait to see you all there. See you then in June.
That's it for this episode of the Flip Tech East Coast podcast. We hope that you join us at the conference. Again, for more information or to register, please visit fliptech.flippedlearning.org. Again, that website is fliptech.flippedlearning.org, and we can't wait to see you there.